for 2 yesterday with a walk and was caught stealing. Again, weather conditions were a lot damper, a lot colder. Sunshine in full effect as the first pitch is cut on and missed for a strike. And away we go here in Westwood, game 2 of the 3-game series. The third and final tilt will take place tomorrow at noon. Terry's been so effective in the circle. The sophomore out of Glendale, Arizona, reigning Pac-12 freshman of the year. Deuces a ground ball to Woolery at third and fires it over to collect out number 1. And a good start for the Bruins defense, number 1 in the nation in fielding percentage.
KT was able to feed Jordan Woolery that ball right there at third base, but nonetheless you see Kaitlyn Terry being efficient and, like you said, effective right now against the first batter, now moving to Mariah.
This is the player for Purdue. She can be the igniter. Came up with an incredible defensive play over in left field last night, preventing a base hit as she's fallen behind 0-2. Batting .543 on the season, a 12-game hit streak for her. Sophomore out of Pearland, Texas. And she is struck out. Kaitlyn Terry with a nice point to Daniel. First punch out of the night for KT, and there's 2 away here in the first.
You can definitely see her game plan right now. She's trying to attack these top 2 hitters that have been the most effective for Purdue, and she's just being super efficient with her pitches, going straight through the zone and testing them to see if they're going to be able to catch up to her velocity.
And that is a difference with her disposition too. We always use the term fiery with her, and with good reason, because she embraces that challenge. She is trying to strike out batters. She's not necessarily just a swing for contact kind of pitcher.
Yeah, she's trying to get it all done by herself. You can hear her grunt. She's fiery, like we've said, but she's giving her all in every single pitch that she throws. She's making no mistake as she delivers that ball.
Trying to make quick work of the Boilermakers here in the first. 0-2, and Kendall Bailey lays off 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bailey was hitless last night, 0 for 3 as a designated player. Again, the top of the lineup has been the same for Maggie Frizzotti. That's flown deep into right. Back is Pola, and she will watch that one fly over. Bailey with a boiler bomb here in the first, and it's 1-0 to Purdue, their first lead of this series.
The most veteran hitter coming up for her team, striking first. The senior stepped in there and was able to match the velocity of Kaitlyn Terry to get them on top in the first inning.
First home run of the season for the senior, and she picked the right time to knock that one over the right field wall. And an early lead for Purdue as Julia Gossett will step in. Huge confidence builder for this Purdue team. Again, only connected on 3 balls last night. UCLA was having their way with them, and Kaitlyn Terry was having her way with the first 2 batters. Had an 0-2 count as well. Gossett was struck out twice last night, reached base on a walk in the 7th. High chopper to Currow at second, and makes the play to retire Gossett, but a solo home run from Kendall Bailey.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
A really good job of being able to deliver a few pitches per at bat that are pressure pitches, I would like to say, pitches that the batter's not able to do a lot with. You saw a few fouled off by Clements and Pola, but she's just given up on those pitches on the plate. You've seen both hitters that reached base send it right back up the middle, and that's just evidence that she's leaving it too much on white.
Woolery lays off, and a 4-pitch walk. And this is danger time right now for Purdue, loading up the bases for Megan Grant.
Yeah, definitely not the start that you think the Boilermakers wanted, but that's been the trend for the Bruins this year. The first two set the table so that Woolery and Grant can clean it up and do what they do best and get some RBIs for the team, but definitely need the senior pitcher to be able to deliver some strong pitches against Grant, because you do not want to tie up the game with a walk here.
Grant hasn't been in this kind of position very often. And Klocek pitches away from her for ball 1. That's the danger going up against this Bruins lineup. You ease up against one batter. Quickly you're staring at one of the home run leaders in the nation. And that's on the ground. A force play to home will collect the first out as Clements is retired. Grant reaches on the fielder's choice, and the bases stay loaded with 1 out.
Felt like a slow progressing play. It felt like she was kind of back and the ball wasn't struck too hard, but she was able to transfer quick enough to get it to home plate just before Clements slid in and made the right decision to be able to cut down the runner at home.
And it was actually a lot closer than it appeared. That's Kanaya Bragg, who blasted a 3-run home run over the video board in left field last night, will get her chance to enthrall this crowd again here tonight. Drove in 4 runs, career high in her young freshman season. Already leads the team in free passes via being hit by a pitch with 10.
Right when you think the threat ends with Woolery and Grant, you see Kanaya Bragg step in, and the threat continues because she's been seeing the ball so well. Her home run yesterday, but she was connecting with the ball very, very well prior to the home run, so not surprised that she was able to leave the park yesterday.
Good snag, will collect 1 out. Pola's able to score as Woolery is tagged out for the 2nd out of the inning. But the fielder's choice RBI will score Pola as the Bruins knot up this score at 1. So Scarmardo did a good job to limit the damage.
She still had time, I think, to be able to get the runner at home plate if she just readjusted her feet, remembering that the bases were loaded, but nonetheless was able to collect another out and 1 out closer to getting her team back into the dugout.
And it looked like because she had spun away and had her back to Reef, perhaps that's why she opted not to throw it.
And Jordan was right in front of her too,
Yeah.
so it's enticing to be able to just tag her, but you also have to remember the importance of trying to limit the amount of runs that the Bruins can get.
Klocek has done well, though, to induce a couple ground balls here.
Seemed shaky at the beginning of the game, seemed like there was a bit of nerves, seemed like she wasn't getting a hold of a ton of her pitches, but has been able to control them well enough to get the Bruins to ground out a few times and to get them in front on their front foot and not timing up the pitches the right way.
Obviously, the Bruins were able to have the last laugh last night where Purdue had the bases loaded, weren't able to push any runs across. Slimp with a shallow pop-up. It's drifting into foul territory, and Scarmardo is unable to haul it in. Had a chance just in front of the netting, but the inning stays alive.
Tough break for the Boilermakers because that could have ended the inning and gotten them back to a tied game. Not sure if the netting or any other things were in her way to make that play, or maybe she thought her shortstop was right behind her as well.
Slimp on the 2-2, drives one into center, back goes Ramos, and she'll make the catch to keep this a 1-1 game. So the Bruins, while they leave two stranded, they do even up the score. Nominee for the Big Ten as well.
And she gets to add her first Big Ten win in that as well. She's able to tack on her first win, and I know she's proud of the way that the Bruins have been competing, not only in their first conference game, but leading up to it in the preseason. They've had a very strong schedule and have been able to learn a lot, but also solidify themselves as a top contending team in women's softball right now.
No question, coming off a year in which she helped guide the Bruins back to the Women's College World Series. Chopper and Woolery is able to gun her down. Second time on that one hop over to third, where Woolery and Grant connecting for the 5-3 putout. As Jordan Ramos, who ended the bottom of the first inning over in center, stepping in her first at-bat here today. And the check swing is fouled for 0-1. Was 1 for 3 yesterday. Again, contributed to one of those 3 hits produced by the Boilermakers last night. Was struck out twice. Rise ball misses upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nice changeup there from Terry. Kind of pulled the rug underneath Ramos. Was expecting something faster. Didn't even bite. Another favorable 1-2 count. And Terry gets her down on swings. Second punch out for KT.
Great sequence there by Terry to be able to go upstairs. She saw that Ramos was not biting on that upper pitch, but then threw her a changeup to kind of see what she was thinking about, froze her, and then threw this amazing drop ball that ended almost behind the batter. Very deceptive and just a great location by Terry.
And again, she hasn't faced much adversity recently. Just the 4th time that she's conceded a home run, so it was fascinating to see how she would respond after conceding a home run in the previous inning. This is, after all, her Big Ten debut as well. Didn't feature at all yesterday in the circle, was in the batter's box. But it's not quite the same. But she has been able to have a pitcher's count facing every single batter in this game. Now going on number 7. Even on that Kendall Bailey home run, she had a 1-2 count. Scarmardo lays off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I believe Terry is using that as her game plan to get ahead of these hitters. I think she's able to work better and use more of her arsenal when she's ahead of batters. So I don't think she wants to get too behind on them and show them too many pitches for them to get on time with all her hard stuff.
First full count. Has been pretty efficient, just 24 pitches thrown. And judgment has been served. Kaitlyn Terry striking out the final 2 batters of this inning. Bottom of the second inning here at Easton Stadium, a 1-1 game. Kaitlyn Terry took care of business in the top half, and Maggie Daniel up for her first at-bat here today, making her 4th straight start. Has been a little slow out of the gate offensively, but it's been what she's doing behind the dish that has curried her favor with the coaching staff, the bonds that she's been forming behind home plate with Taylor Tinsley and Kaitlyn Terry, creating nice batteries. Again, she showed it last night with the arm strength. How quickly she was able to spring up and fire it over to Bragg in time, and Currow to cut down attempted runs. That slicing foul to right. A chance for Banks to make the play, shielding off the sun with her glove, and she collects out number 1. And obviously the defense has been elite under Maggie Frizzotti in her second season. Even last year, team had one of the best marks in the Big Ten, racking up 479 assists, the second most in the league. They've accumulated actually over 2,000 putouts the last year and a half. With her expertise, former player in her own right, part of the Argentina national team for 13 years. Bringing a lot of experience, the former assistant coach for 3 seasons and then elevated into the top chair. Currow takes ball 3.
It's important as a head coach to have the importance on defense. You know how important it is to be able to collect those outs, minimize the amount of errors that you're committing as a team to be able to help your pitchers. But this outfield has been locked down during this series. They've made some difficult plays, secured all the easy ones, but you saw the center fielder deliver a dime to home plate that unfortunately hit a bat and it got away from the catcher in yesterday's contest. But the outfield has been seamless in all of their efforts trying to secure the outs for their pitching staff.
There's no question the 2 errors that were committed yesterday all occurred in the infield for Purdue. As Klochek taking on Kaitlyn Terry. Good smother by Delaney Reef. Again, preventing Currow potentially from swiping second. By the way, against Currow was the second 4-pitch walk issued by Klochek, already up to 38 pitches.
And Delaney Reef is a impact transfer that the Boilers were able to pick up from Maryland, and she's been able to etch herself in that catching position and just be able to help this staff that is experienced in their own right with Elish and with Klochek, but has been able to aid them.
The middle, by the way, unassisted for Campbell. Was trying to relay, but couldn't fire it off in time. So she does sit down Currow.
Was set up perfectly to step on second base right there as she was running towards the ball. Good thing that Klochek didn't tip the ball right there so that she was able to make that play.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want as an infielder, in stride, being able to run to the bag. Just a routine play as Clemens drives it. Boy, it hit the floodlight, but it's foul. I think, I could be wrong, I think that had the depth to be considered a home run had it stayed fair.
I think you're right. And that was a target practice for just Clemens to hit the field light right there. And she definitely had the power behind it, just not enough to keep it fair. She was doing a better job of trying to keep herself on time with these pitches. She's been a little early on that inside pitch, so coming into this at-bat, she really wanted to be assertive with her bat on that inner half of the plate.
Yeah, that got out of here in a hurry. She was trying to turn off the floodlight there.
Yeah, she's like, it's on pretty early. Here, let me turn it off.
Yeah, I can see it. Takes up high, ball 1. She was thrown out on the force play to home. Klochek and Reef combined. And tough to see with the glare whether the bulb was affected or not, but we're still getting a lot of light as Clements is able to flutter one to left. There's Polar to make the catch and retire Clements and this inning. So the Bruins leave another runner stranded. We're still tied through 2. Trading loyalties in that state. I'd be interested to know if you put her on a lie detector test, which Michigan team she has the most affection for, yeah, given all the stops.
That'd be an interesting interview question to ask her.
I think she would still say Purdue as the answer, even though it's not in the state. Just coach speak. Olivia Meeks, first at bat for her, batting in the 8th spot. Was 0 for 3 last night. Staring at an 0-2 count from Terry. Just whizzes outside, ball 1. Former 4-year letter winner for Meeks in high school. Helped her high school team win a state championship in 2019. And got her on the off speeder. Way out in front for Meeks. 4th strikeout for Terry.
Yeah, when you're going up to the plate against Terry, you don't expect for her to get you on a changeup. You expect for something hard and up, or she's been developing that lower pitch, but you're expecting something hard. So she's out in front of that, really just super surprised by that pitch right there.
3 straight strikeouts for Terry. As we get the first look at the very bottom of the lineup with Ashlyn Campbell. The starting shortstop has struggled in this series. Fortunately for Daniel, Purdue didn't have any base runners, so didn't pose any threat. We're starting to see a few more of these Purdue batters running up in the batter's box to try to make contact with these pitches. Perhaps in anticipation of that changeup, or trying to better time those fastballs from Terry. Doesn't get the call.
Also getting into that slapping mindset and being able to run through the box, it ultimately makes you shorten up your swing because you're just trying to really chop the ball and make contact with it and put it in a position that the defense is not in. So maybe just changing their approach rather than having power, placing the ball where they want it to be and just trying to find a way to get on base.
Check swing, and it is caught right in the lap of Riley Slimp. Made that look effortless.
Unfortunately, she placed it right where a Bruin was, and Riley Slimp made that play. Riley has done an amazing job in left field. She's been making some amazing catches, a few over the fence in the Mary Nutter tournament at big-time games against Duke, and she's really done an amazing job even taking over after big-time senior transfer Jadlyn Alchin was really locked down in left field. So being able to replace her with a freshman that has the same capabilities as her is awesome for the Bruins defensively.
Yeah, Coach Enore Perez always talks about and raves about her athletic range. She can move her all around the outfield, but she has started every single game over in left. Hitters count right now for Chloe Banks. Grounded out to Woolery her first time up. She's one of the fastest players on this Purdue lineup if she can get on base. That catches the corner for Terry, 3-1. Chopper to second, backpedaling is Curro and is able to laser it in there in time. For the Bruins, Savannah Pola, Jordan Woolery in the on-deck circle, and Megan Grant, the three guaranteed batters for the Bruins in this inning, as Pola lifts the first pitch she sees to center, and Ramos quickly gets underneath it. Pola's retired for the first time tonight. A little bit rare to see the Bruins go after the first pitch. At least in this series, we haven't seen it a whole lot.
We've talked about how patient they've been at the plate. They've drawn a lot of walks, and they've accepted them. Sometimes as a hitter, you get so excited and you want to jump on every good pitch you see, or a hittable pitch, but they've really been challenging the pitchers to bring it over the plate in these last few contests that they've had.
Jordan Woolery had a great quote recently about why she's been experiencing so much productivity. She said this past summer was the first summer where she didn't play at all, completely removed herself from the game, just focused on training. And unlike last year, again, where she focused more on the outcome and was paying more attention to the ups and downs of the season, she hasn't focused on that this year, and it's freed her up mentally. And it's translated as she drills one into the gap in right center, and it is gone. Welcome to the Big Ten in the home run column, Jordan Woolery. Sweet and special home run number 13.
And she's been the go-to girl for the Bruins. She's been sending this ball out of the park now 13 times, but she's also been the answer for a lot of their tied games. She's been the answer to get them back on the board, and just such a clean swing. Made her bring it over the plate and just sends it out of the park.
She's had so many memorable home runs throughout her career. She's talked about her very first home run. That was a grand slam against Alabama in the Clearwater Invitational as a freshman. That had been her favorite home run. She referenced last year's go-ahead 3-run homer in the 6th inning, again against Bama. But she won't forget this one, her first home run against a Big Ten opponent, as Grant tried to follow suit, floated it deep into center for Ramos to get underneath it. And there are 2 away.
It's interesting what you brought up about Jordan, how she didn't focus a lot on outcome this year, and it really does free you up as a hitter when you're solely focused on average statistics and how many times I got on base in a game. It really does shrink you into just a number as a player, and just being able to enjoy the time with your teammates and see it as a process-oriented sport, and just see the way that you're moving through your pitches and moving through your at-bats, and not shrinking yourself down to a number. It does free you up. It's hard to play in that mindset. So the fact that Jordan was able to find her way out of that and into a more mature mindset is game-changing. You've seen it for her this whole season.
Well, she credited working a lot with Dr. Mondo, the mental performance coach. Again, when she goes to the plate, using that simple self-talk of, I got this, I got this. And Kanai Bragg has been saying, I got this too. We saw that last night. In fact, you talk about the recent spate of home runs for Bragg. She hit 0 home runs through the first 17 games of the season, but she's connected on 4 jacks in the last 12, so about a homer every 3.5 games. Puts a drive into this one to center, goes Ramos, and Ramos has collected all 3 outs. Into the Purdue dugout. Savannah Pola over in right field, but has shifted substantially a couple of steps to her right. Polar always dangerous though, but was struck out looking in the first. Another check swing to Curro, who was ready and right on the spot with it. Great jump for Curro to cut her down. Kendall Bailey, though, had her way with Kaitlyn Terry. First home run of the season, and it was a beauty. Nothing Pola could do. Cleared the wall. And she gave the Boilermakers their first lead of the series, but that is a little 6-3 put out for Bragg, and they're 2 away.
Not surprised that Kaitlyn Terry changed up her game plan with Kendall Bailey, because she started her off pretty hard inside and then did her rise ball when she hit the home run, and went totally opposite of that, went to a curveball outside, and Kendall Bailey was showing that she was going to swing early, feeling comfortable off of Kaitlyn Terry.
And we talked about the Bruins swinging early at times a little bit more in this series. Purdue has swung on the first pitch in 5 of their last 7 batters coming up, as Gossett takes strike 2.
Yeah, definitely a game plan. You see that Kaitlyn Terry is trying to be efficient, so you have to couple it with going at her best pitches that are crossing the plate. So as a dugout, I think they probably huddled up and said, hey, she's going first pitch this many times, we have to attack it.
Casual sauntering over for Terry to Grant, and another 3 up, 3 down inning. Terry's retired 10 in a row, which is what the Boilermakers were expecting here in Westwood. As Slimp chases the first pitch. Pop up into shallow left. On the move is Polar, showing off the speed. And there's quickly 1 out. If Purdue is going to make another run to the NCAA tournament, which, again, the last time that happened was all the way back to 2008. The 2008-2009 season, they reached the regionals. In fact, their lone tournament win came in the Los Angeles regionals, which was hosted by UCLA at Easton Stadium. During that season, Bruins were the #2 overall seed, ultimately reached the Women's College World Series. Arizona State went on to win that title, as Maggie Daniel is up for second at bat. Climbs the ladder, comes up empty, 1-2. Infield pop-up for Meeks. Makes the play. And what have you seen, Charlize, from Maggie Daniel? You've been in this position of being a catcher and then also having to kind of lock back in offensively. How did you get yourself out of an offensive strut if you experienced one?
I think her learning curve is moving very fast as a freshman, having to be behind the plate and also be able to produce hitting-wise. So honestly, I would just put extra time in after practices to be able to just get the reps that I need to feel confident going into game day. But she's been learning a lot as a freshman, and on top of that, being a catcher, catchers have to just work even overtime, getting to know a pitcher, getting to know their tendencies, getting to know what makes them tick so that you can help them throughout the game. And learning all the plays, being the quarterback behind the plate. So she's been having the defensive part on lock for the pitching staff and also just as the catcher for the Bruins. But being able to couple that, it takes a little bit of maturity to be able to find and compartmentalize those parts of your game. But Maggie's going to get into a rhythm that she'll be able to find stride in and just continue to be able to produce behind the plate, but also with some production in the box.
Currow stays alive. That pitch just whistles outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And again, to your point, Daniel's been so great in pretty much every other area. The batting average, there's an opportunity for growth, but as you talked about, the burden that you have to carry is a lot different in that position.
And I think Kelly, in a way, Perez understands that. As she was a catcher, you have to wear a ton of different hats, and you are doing the selfless job behind the plate of giving everything you have to your defense, giving everything you have to your pitcher, and sometimes being so selfless you can give up a little bit on your own statistics, and at times you just have to take it on the chin and just be like, hey, I got to work even harder to be able to match what the other Bruins are doing in the lineup. You see Riley Slimp ahead of her. She's batting in the 400s, and she's producing for the Bruins in an awesome way as a freshman. So Maggie will be able to find that stride just because she's just as talented in the box as she is behind the plate.
Currow rips one to Scarmardo at third, and she's able to hose her down. 5-3 put out. Quick 3 up, 3 down for Klochek. He walks, has retired the last 10 straight batters. Reduced a ground ball, a long way to go for Bragg, and Grant cannot scoop it up off the hop. So it's an infield single for Delaney Reef. First batter to reach in the last 11 for Purdue.
And that's at times all it takes is just a little mishap to be able to try to capitalize on this. And I don't think the sun had much to do with that. Just couldn't come up with the ball. But I wanted to touch a little bit on what Kaitlyn Terry has been able to put together. You have talked about her efficiency in this game. I think that was her game plan. But coming into year 2, it's very different than coming in as a freshman. As a freshman, you're able to show all the stuff you have, and no one really knows what you're all about. So she's able to strike out all types of batters with rise balls and just go back to her best pitch. But this year, you saw that compilation of strikeouts, and she's gone to so many different pitches and to get the strikeouts, and she's just been able to adapt and change her game plan. Like you said, she got a home run hit off of her, but she changed her game plan, and she's not shaken by that. She's coming back even more mature and stronger, and is able to show, hey, I've been working on a lot of different pitches throughout the offseason, and I'm able to couple different things. So you're never going to expect what's coming from Kaitlyn Terry.
Yeah, boy, that one might have nicked the side of the helmet for Jordan Ramos. Trying to shake that off. By the way, for Reef, it goes down as a charged error to Kanaya Bragg, by the way. That's her first error of the season. In fact, when you look at the breakdown defensively for UCLA, as that is just a filthy changeup from Terry to cut her down for strikeout number 5. But to wrap up the thought defensively for UCLA, they've had 7 different players commit in error, but only one, Seneca Currow, has been charged with multiple. So the errors have been few and far between. And man, that last pitch to Ramos, just nasty. Fell off the table for her.
You saw that same changeup be delivered as a strikeout pitch to Meeks earlier in the game, and it's hard to be able to tell what's coming, especially with the shadows of the sun, and you're expecting hard off of Kaitlyn Terry. When you're stepping in that box, you're expecting to try to match her velocity. So when she pulls that changeup out of nowhere and just pulls the string on it, it's really hard to get your bat on it and to try to be on time with both pitches.
And I'll sound like a broken record, but the most effective pitches the Bruins have had throughout this season has been the changeup against opposing batters. Tried to lay down the bunt, didn't stay fair. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I would like to think that's because a lot of the pitching staff for UCLA does have velocity. You see Taylor Tinsley, probably the lowest velocity, but still is up there in the higher mid-60s. And all of them come out, and you know that you're going to have to match their speed. And it's a tough thing to try to couple velocity with spin, so it's a tough round for them.
And Curro cannot hold on. A bluff of a run to third for Reef. And I don't want to say that was a routine play for Woolery to make, because it was a great backhanded snag just to give her a chance, but it does go down as the second error charged to this Bruins defense. Had positioned herself where just a little, well, that was a chance for Curro. Had a chance to hold on and make the catch. So that's 2 errors committed by the Bruins defense in this inning. That's the most in the season, as they will tally Curro with that error. She's charged with it, not Woolery. As that is driven into right, back on the move. It is caught by Pola, tracking that one down. That will advance Reef into scoring position. But what a play, showing off the speed and athleticism from Savvy.
Yeah, an over-the-shoulder catch, not an easy catch to make. She's on the run as she makes this, and at the last second makes it to the right spot. But such an amazing catch right there. Great range and good read off the bat right away. She was running and tracking that ball down.
What a field by Bragg, makes the play. Able to prevent runs from scoring for Purdue. Collected 2 strikeouts, didn't concede any hits or runs last night. Was effective in her time in the circle. As the coaching staff hoping that she can produce another gem here in the final few innings here tonight. To give her offense another chance. Much more competitive game here in game 2. It was a 3-0 lead at this time last night as Terry flies one into center. Ramos has probably been busier than she expected to be entering the night. And if you go back to the last inning, the last couple of innings, she's recorded now 4 of the last 7 outs for Purdue.
And the change to Emma Bailey, you saw her in yesterday's contest, as you said, Jonah, but I think they just don't want the Bruin lineup to go through a batter 3 times. They saw that Kaitlyn Terry was the 9th and about to round it off to Clements, so I think they just wanted a different look for the Bruins to see in their 3rd time around.
A little blooper on the move is Polar, and closes that distance quickly. All Big Ten defensive team over in left, recording the 2nd out. Bailey's hoping for a quick and easy inning here in the 5th. Savannah Pola had that electric catch over in right field, colliding with the wall. As the leader on the team in hits, in doubles, is back to work. Already 1 for 2 tonight. Flown into left, Polar is there. And again, quick 3 up, 3 down, 2nd straight inning where the Boilermakers defense
Waiting to see a home run.
waiting to see a home run. Okay. I think you're right. Kaitlyn Terry beginning her 5th inning, taking on Chloe Banks, 0 for 2 tonight. Last time Kaitlyn Terry pitched a full 5 innings, came in that near no-hitter and perfect game against LMU. a couple weeks ago now. Five strikeouts tonight for Terry. Again, just that one hit. Home run conceded to Kendall Bailey, who is due up in this inning.
If I was a Purdue hitter right now, stepping up for my third time off of Kaitlyn Terry, I would pick one pitch, sit it for the entire at-bat until I get 2 strikes, because she's been delivering different pitches to different batters in both of their at-bats. You know that in the third at-bat, she's probably going to couple it with different things and sequence them differently. So I would just pick one pitch, the one that you're seeing the best, and being able to commit to it throughout the at-bat.
Hasn't been able to see that pitch well. Strikeout number 6 for Kaitlyn Terry. By the way, so Purdue obviously flew to LA a couple of days ago. They flew on Southwest Airlines, and the pilot, they had a cool opportunity. The pilot allowed a lot of the Boilermaker players to enter the cockpit, take some pictures. Nice gesture. But, of course, Southwest has been facing a lot of backlash recently over its controversial changed bag policy, now charging passengers for checked bags. But to try to assuage public outrage and direct attention elsewhere, they responded to the criticism by posting on Instagram, "It's not like we traded Luka." That reference to the Mavericks trading Luka Doncic to Los Angeles, effort to win back some favor in the court of public opinion.
Making light of the situation.
Correct.
Not the biggest fail of 2025.
No. I think the nice gesture with some of these athletic programs, again, to save face a little bit. As Poehler runs through the ball, 2-1.
And you feel that as a softball player, because when you're traveling, you're taking your whole gear bag, and then you're taking your personal luggage, which contains your uniform, all the loungewear you're wearing, so it accumulates quickly. It was always nice to be able to travel with those 2 free bags.
That knocked off the leg, by the way, of Poehler, and so it won't be ruled an infield hit, but a foul ball, as it had some wonky side spin to it. Did you ever sit in the cockpit when you were traveling on any flight during your playing career?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever.
Maybe you didn't have a desire to.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid of flying, so I try to just get to my seat, put my headphones on, and try to go to bed as fast as I can.
Another check swing, floated on the move, is slipped just in front of the wall. Made it look casual over there in left field. Saw what Poehler did. Little chest bump celebration with Clements, and she records the second out of the 6th.
She got a great beat on that ball and literally mimicked exactly what Savannah Poehler did an inning prior, but I thought that this could have had a chance to sneak over Riley Slimp, but like we said, she just has such great range, is able to read the balls really well, and makes that quick decision and reacts to where the ball's going to be.
Again, it was a little bit surprising to see Poehler not fully swing through that, because considering how far it traveled on the check swing, had she decided to go all the way around it, it may have had the distance to clear the wall. As Bailey takes a ball that was fired upstairs.
Yeah, Poehler really went to a power slap situation right there. She had delivered kind of a smaller hit prior to that, the one that had been a dead ball off of her. But then she saw that the outfield was in, so tried to push it past him. And I agree with you, Jonah. I think if she would have put a little bit more on it, it maybe had the chance to hit the wall, or who knows, maybe even escape the park.
They need more heroics from Kendall Bailey. Two-1 from Terry. Chopped foul across the inside part of her leg, and there's 2s across the board. This is a crucial at-bat right now for Purdue, because Gossett, who's in the on-deck circle, is 0 for 2. Reef is 0 for 1, reached on an error, and Jordan Ramos is 0 for 2 as well. So she's really the only player that's remaining in the near future that's had some modicum of success against this pitching staff.
You saw third base coach Maggie mimicking the move of a front hand trying to hit the ball. And I'm sure she wants to get in that box and deliver for these Boilermakers.
And Bailey is able to dump one into left right on time just when the Boilermakers needed it. A 2-out single here in the 6th.
Bailey has had a really good job today seeing the ball off of Terry, and although she swung first pitch her last at bat, she struck it well, and this time she's able to get it through the 5-6 hole and just saw it super deep and was able to just be super quick with her bat to the ball.
Yeah, it was a good compact swing for her. As Gossett takes strike 1. Couple of ground outs for Julia Gossett, whose role has evolved a lot over the last 2 years, was utilized predominantly as a pitcher last season. Was fantastic in the circle last year, making 12 starts. Was technically a two-way player last year as well, but the role has shifted a lot more heavily into a hitting role this season. 23 starts, batting .313. She still started in the circle 9 times this season, but has been hitting a lot more prominently this year. 1-1, did she go around it? She did.
Her emphasis has really been on the offensive production, and I think that she's able to probably focus more on her hitting this year rather than trying to do good at both and just trying to pour herself completely into that hitting role.
Gossett lays off, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fans stomping on the bleachers. The changeup did not go around it. Megan Rabin over at first said that Gossett held back the swing, and we go to a judgment pitch. Boilermakers need a run to tie this game up. Bruins looking to keep a 1-run lead. That's a blooper. It's got a chance to get away, though, and Slimp says not today. Held onto it with the glove just inside the webbing and keeps this a 1-run game. The defense.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
And we just spoke about how Gossett has been able to dive into her hitting role, but in this game now she's in that pitching role and changing her mindset from what she's done at the plate to be able to help the Boilers get back into the dugout. And my prediction is that they just want to continue to change it up and keep the hitters off balance, keep them asking questions like, what does this pitcher have? What are her 3 best pitches? Kind of trying to keep them not as comfortable as they can be at the plate. So I think that's what Purdue's management is thinking right here.
Gossett can't find the strike zone there. The 3rd time that they had fallen behind in a 3-0 count. It results in a walk for Grant. 2nd time that she's reached base today. Once was on a fielder's choice. And you can look at the breakdown for her. Over 42 innings of work. Has had a lot of experience as Lauren Hatch is going to pinch run for Grant. Adding a little bit of speed for Enore Perez. And Kanaya Bragg back up for her 3rd inning. Lauren Hatch has been deployed in this manner now 24 times this season. Had her first career at bat, though, against San Diego earlier this week. Pinch hitting for Slimp back in the 4th inning of that contest, but again, predominantly has been utilized as a pinch runner throughout her Bruins career. It snaps a streak, by the way, for Gossett, finding the zone there. Had thrown 7 balls previously. Good pitch. Caught the inside corner for strike 2.
Yeah, well spotted strike right there. I think Kanaya was probably thinking she was going to go outside because she's been pounding that outer half for the righties, but
it will escape the netting. A chance for a fan to make a play, and they can't. There were no hands even going up there. Waka Flocka would be upset.
Jonah, that was a good one. I got to give you your credit. That was a really good one.
Thanks. Got to keep you on your toes from time to time.
You kept me on my toes. I was trying to see if a fan had a glove or anything because everyone escaped.
So was I.
I was like trying to see, and then you delivered a line there that just got me.
Bragg check swing to third. It rolls into the glove of Scarmardo. It was a close play to second. They're able to retire Hatch. Again, made it a lot closer because of her speed. But they're 2 away here in the 6th.
Yeah, a little juggle in her hand, and then with Hatch's speed, it was a closer play than I think they wanted and they intended. But yeah, Kanaya just seemed like she wanted to lay off of that pitch, but was already completely committed to it and put it in play. That's tough because you are seeing the ball well and you're wanting to go, but then you're in that yes, yes, no mentality, and sometimes the bat does cross over.
Riley Slimp 0 for 2 offensively, has collected a number of highlight plays herself defensively. It's interesting with Sage Scarmardo, who has made the harder plays look easier than some of the easier plays. Had a chance in the outfield to catch a pop-up that could have prevented potentially a run from scoring in the first inning. Made up for it here. That whistles off the plate, ball 2. Pulled foul. Slim part of that heralded freshman class. You go down the list of the talented freshmen that Coach Enore Perez has, and obviously you start with the circle with Addison Fisher, but you don't have to go too far after that to find Riley Slimp. Had a phenomenal high school career. It wasn't a surprise to anyone if she takes strike 2, the way that she was playing in the fall, that she'd be starting now. Again, the question was more where in the outfield would she start? Potentially in center with Clements, but owned that left field spot. Works a full count.
Yeah, I remember the first time I was hitting BP with the Bruins, I was in a group with Riley Slimp, and just watching her hit, I turned back. I had a double take, and I was like, oh my God, she has so much power. She has really good hands to all the balls, and I always complimented her on her ability to get to the inside pitch. She's just a very mature hitter at her young age, but you can attribute that to the experience she's gotten in travel ball.
Gossett can't pave the corner, and Slimp is able to work a walk and extend this inning for the Bruins as Bragg, who'd reached on the fielder's choice, scoots on into scoring position and will be replaced for a pinch runner, Riley Pinedo. So we saw Lauren Hatch come in for Megan Grant, and now for Bragg, it's the junior utility player. And the Bruins can sense this is the time to add an insurance run, the way that their pen, and in particular, one-woman pen in Kaitlyn Terry, has been pitching. Sophia Mujica, that is the trade-off with her, much more of an explosive bat than Maggie Daniel in a spot like this. Just referenced the freshman class with Fisher and Slimp, the number 8 overall recruit. Mujica number 3 ranked player in the class according to extra inning softball. There's a reason this team has had such high hopes for this class, as she's fouled off the first 2 pitches and has fallen behind 0-2.
Yeah, the freshman phenom class they're really taking on the responsibility at so many positions in the infield and also just in the box. They're just helping out so much. You saw Alina Garcia had gone down, but prior to that, she had also been delivering, and always nice to highlight her because she had put in some good work for the Bruins early in the season. But Mojica has also been able to deliver in a pinch hit opportunity in Clearwater to be able to tie the game, and she's been a really steady bat off of the bench to be able to try to deliver some power and help the Bruins continue on in their journey.
Late swing fouled off by Mojica. Bruins obviously embarking on their N phase in the Bruins acronym. Coach Enore Perez always talks about never letting up when you enter conference play. This is the stage of the season that they're at as the 1-2 sails high and tight, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's important to have a leader that is able to show you exactly where you're going to go, where you're heading, and how you're going to get there. And that's something that Coach I has always instilled in the players. So there's no confusion of how something's going to get done. You can always put a goal of a national championship on the wall and always expect that. But as a freshman and as people that have never won one, it's hard to know how to do it. And who else other than Coach Kelly Inouye Perez and Lisa Fernandez to lead them in this journey to try to find a national championship.
And Gossett found the inside corner. It took her 26 pitches, but she's able to get the job done. Strikes out, Mojica looking. Delaney, Rafe, Jordan Ramos, and Sage Garmardo, the 3 batters to come up for Purdue, barring a pinch hitter. Delaney, Reef reached base via the error. In fact, she was advanced to second on the lone 2 errors of the contest. Tinsley induces the pop-up. Grant is going to call off Maggie, although Maggie Daniel was still tracking that down. Grant holds on for out number 1.
And you can hear the crowd, probably some parents saying, call it, trying to have them communicate. That's definitely an easier ball for the first baseman to take just because she's running forward and Maggie would be running underneath it, trying to basket catch it almost. But yeah, just a little more communication on that play.
We are going to see a pinch hitter, by the way, for Purdue. We saw this last night. The freshman Maura Condon, who entered in the 7th last night, was struck out in her lone at-bat. Fouls the first pitch back against the screen for 0-1. And by the way, we saw with Megan Grant that patented flaring up the thumb of her glove because of her moxie and baseball background, showing off that swagger over at first base as Condon takes that pitch in the dirt for ball 1.
Yeah, Megan is very particular about her glove and doesn't want many people to put their hand in it or mess up the form that she's created. It's unique to her, but as a catcher, I am also very picky with how I form my glove. I feel like it makes a difference with how I frame pitches and just a different feeling on my hand from my glove to someone else's.
Condon pinch hitting for Ramos, who was struck out twice prior to being taken out now. Youngest player on this Boilermaker team at 17, rips it foul on the 1-2. Big spot for her 6 hits on the season. Hit a walk-off grand slam in game 1 versus Purdue Fort Wayne. That was her coming out moment. Looking for some magic here in the 7th. Stays alive as it escapes the netting.
You can expect to see a changeup coming very soon from Taylor Tinsley. That's her bread and butter. That's her strikeout pitch. And as a pinch hitter, you have to know that's looming in the future as you're hitting.
Again, a pop-up. There's Grant backpedaling, and there's 2 away. She was battling, though. Condon had fouled off 4 previous pitches. But a little too much Tinsley, as the Bruins are 1 out away from collecting their 2nd straight Big Ten win and their 8th consecutive victory overall. Last chance for Scarmato, who comes up empty on strike 1.
And today was a closer contest than yesterday. Yesterday seemed like they just kept tacking on runs for the Bruins, but this pitching staff has done a really good job of holding them to a lot less runs today. And other than Jordan Woolery's home run, there hasn't been a big boom from the Bruins this game.
1 strike away. Tinsley gets the call. A spectacular save and a spectacular final strike to strike out the Boilermakers and clinch their 2nd consecutive win in Big Ten play. Nothing Scarmato could do. And they turned to Taylor, and Taylor delivered in the 7th.